is there another way to lead them to your website? Yes, there is. Is there another way to get all the same messages that your website has across in a realm that they're already existing? Yes, there is. Okay. As far as Facebook's geotargeting, what I talked about, I don't know if anybody heard about that. I'm going to be slightly shallow for 2 seconds. Gannett acquired a company called Blink Media. I'm sure some of you who are a little bit more on the financial end of the news kind of saw that. Companies like Blink, and it's not just for the start, there's a million of them. Companies like Blink, okay, they literally have found a way to tap into Facebook, and there's a lot, I'm not just talking about us selfishly, to tap into all of that data and literally find that person who on a Tuesday morning is hanging out and is just waiting for you to put your product in front of their face. I know that sounds silly. Bear with me. Believe it or not, that's exactly what social media should be used for. There's the cosmetic side of Facebook, okay, which is the posting and how many fun photos you can put up, or all the different things. And yes, that's important because you're representing a brand. But the fact that you can tap into people who specifically fall into not only your age demographic, your income demographic, I can find out what they eat, how much money they make, where they live, what school they went to, what they're an alumni of, how many boards they're from, what charities they support, what kind of jewelry they buy, what kind of clothes they like, even what kind of soap they wash their arms with. We can go that deep, and the reason that you want all of that is because now this is how we are capable of finding people who just apply to what you want them to see. So you can literally filter out people who don't apply. That's like literally being able to put a billboard on the side of a freeway and go, only people who are going to read this, who want to come to my company, read it. The rest of you, please don't drive on this freeway today. If you can believe it, yeah. Believe it or not, if we could all do that, we would. It's like, no, you're not allowed to use I-5 today, thank you. Sorry, only people who apply to my business. And that's exactly what social media should be used for, Facebook namely, okay? Twitter. Does anybody tweet in here? Yeah? Yeah, of course you do. You do everything back there. She's like, I opened 9 different social pages yesterday. I'm very busy. I have a Slack now. Twitter is literally the in the now advertising. Does it necessarily target a little bit younger of an age group? Is it the 40 and younger? Yeah, it is, a little bit, to a certain degree. I have people who, believe it or not, a lot of guys actually, I think men like it, and I'm not picking on you gentlemen, I think men like it because it's limited to characters, they don't have to go through your whole personality, and they can just find out something quick. They're like, I just want to know what the score was. I don't care about you and what you like, and if you like bread, I don't care. So I think that's why men seem to like Twitter, is because it's a quick synopsis of information, it doesn't get into details, and you don't have to look at it, just tell me the facts, that's it, thank you. And that is what Twitter is used for. It's also in the now, I mean, news breaks on Twitter. Jody and I were just talking about this on the way here this morning. We were just talking about this morning, as far as Twitter is concerned. Like, news about Libya broke on Twitter before it did anywhere else. I mean, not to be tacky, but Twitter knew about Michael Jackson passing before any of the news channels did. And they were like confirmed on it. They're like, no, it's facts, there, done, bam. And they're like, how do you like us now? Like, oh, Twitter's so stupid. Like, but seriously, this is how, this is what is most important, is that this is a way for you to jump in and find out information that's happening right this minute. Think about that as a brand advocate, what that could mean. I literally had, and I'm just going to tell you a quick example. We had a guy, and he was a gentleman who was actually, we managed his account. He had a sporting goods store in Michigan. Last October, and I've been told this by all my Midwestern states, that last October, you weren't expecting to get snow, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of October, it was like, bam! Like, you have snow now, done. He had literally ordered, and he was a smaller outfit. It was not it wasn't like a sporting, like a Big Five or a Dick's or anything like that. It was just a tiny sporting shop. Awesome guy. We were managing his Twitter for him. We did some of his social media influencer search. And you still, I mean, we're just a consultant. It's still yours. You're still able to get on there and do what you do. He had ordered a bunch of snowboarding equipment, boards, boots, the whole nine, and he was like all excited. The storm was so bad in that part of Michigan that it was literally like, roads were blocked off, no one went out, everything was shut down. It was just like completely shut down, dead ghost town. And he's sitting there, with his store full of new equipment. He's like, and so he gets on Twitter. Now, again, he didn't ask us first. Hey, you're on your own. If you go ahead and you do something like that, you should always ask. Run it by somebody before you make a crazy decision. He literally got on Twitter, and he posted out, anybody who comes to the store in the next hour gets 50% off. People walked there in boots and snowshoes. I've never even seen anything. They cleaned him out. And I gotta tell you something, if I was in walking distance, I know how much a snowboard is. I fall off them all the time. I know exactly how much they are. So I probably would have walked my butt there too, not a lie. But they literally cleaned him out. And all his account manager and some of the other people at Fortinet Local, they're like, It worked! Yay! It was the humanistic side of whatever your business is. And I'm not talking like you need to have some professional video shot of someone coming in and, oh, they had lighting and it was appropriate and it was in full makeup. No. Videos shot on an iPhone or on an Android phone or they're posted are ended up getting all these clicks simply because it feels like they're being humanized by your business. They feel like they're in touch with it. And again, it's definitely a way to, grasp the male demographic if that's who you're after, because they certainly love it. But also as a way, I don't know if any of you, have any of you used any of the how-to videos? Anybody? How-to video? What'd you have to?
Cut a mango.
How to cut a mango? That's actually a good one. Here, I'll give you a copy for that, since I haven't been remembering to pass these out. Did you actually learn how to cut the mango afterwards? Okay. Was it a site by any chance that was selling a certain type of mango cutting device? No? Okay, well then good for them for not being selfish. Using those how-to videos is a really good way. I mean, most people will try and use whatever it is, and then whatever the product is that they're trying to sell, they're like, I'll just buy it now that I've ruined my entire yard by building my own sprinkler system, whatever it may be. I actually looked at how to tie a tie. I didn't know how to tie a bow tie, and I had to wear one for a charity benefit. It took me like an hour and a half, but I got that thing tie. So, what is a Foursquare? Does anybody know what Foursquare is? Anyway, okay. Is anybody a mayor of anything? You were? What were you a mayor of?
Our company.
That's good. A lot of people, they tell me also, what was the funniest one? My church and my bar. That's what I heard when I was not even the mayor of both. Thank you for sharing. I got to pass these out. I'm going to use them. My church and my bar. I was going to, if you're the mayor of anything, those are two good things. Okay. Foursquare is literally a location-based, and it allows businesses to reward customer loyalty, and it allows so much more than that. Jody herself admits to this openly, and she's not shy of it. It's not just because she works, in this industry. She will literally check into somewhere on Foursquare, and that's what it is. It allows you to go in and physically tell the world where you're standing. And I know some of you are probably, I hate my thing on Facebook. People check it. Like, I don't care where you are. They're not doing it for you, though. That's the kicker. They're doing it because not only might there be a deal on that space, she utilizes it to see what's around her. And I didn't even know that you could do that until recently. I was like, oh, it does that. And this is a new function that Foursquare started doing within the last update that they had. You can literally check into somewhere. So if she and I checked into here today, which we did, by checking into here today, and she can hit what's around me, which is literally a tab that Foursquare has. And this is a completely mobile type of software or site, by the way. This isn't really something that people use on their desktop. It's all the mobile, because it's literally checking in where you're physically standing. She will literally hit what's close to me, and she'll start reading off like all the things. She's like, oh, there's this burger joint, and they're gluten-free, and there's this. And I'm like, how? And I literally said this to her 9 times before I realized that she was just looking on Foursquare. I'm like, what do you like, read up the World Almanac or something before we go into these towns? Because she's like, oh, did you know that Indiana has the largest burger joint in the entire? I'm like, where are you getting this crap from? And I'm like, and I just thought she was a savant or something until I realized she was just using Foursquare. And not only are reviews coming through on Yelp on Foursquare now, but it literally allows you to localize where you are by that person's check-in, and also incentivize the check-in. Okay? Okay, social strategies. We're almost done here, folks. We appreciate your patience. Customizing social channels. Okay? Things like lead capture, like gamification, which is a made-up word, I know. Isn't it funny about the digital era? We can just make up words and pretend that they're real, and no one questions it anymore. They're just like, is that a word? Like, sure. Google says it's a word. So, because we decided that Google's an actual word. So, appointment setting, things like that. These are all things that your Facebook page should be doing for you. You should be able to run a contest and have it completely mobilized on your Facebook page. You should be able to do appointment setting completely through your Facebook page. I mean, do you want them to go to your website and do those things? Oh, God, yeah, of course you do. But wouldn't it be easier if where they already were, you could just do that right there, so that way you're not trying to lead them 9 other places? Of course it would. A social marketing plan. Thank God this isn't black ink. Okay, we can all read this now. Social marketing plan, a content calendar. We think that's a really good best practice if you know at least 30 days in advance, I mean for the most part, of what you want to do on those social channels. Have an idea in mind before you go ahead and you attack that world, okay? Know, hey, on the 3rd, this is something I want to talk about. On the 5th, this is a special we're running. On the 16th, there's a charity we're involved in. And at the end of the month, we're going to show photos from all that crap I just said. Yeah! Things like that. If you know, basically at the beginning of the month, the little items that you want to put out, it makes those last-minute items seem like not such a monopolizing thing that you have to take care of, because you've already kind of laid out a plan for yourself. Okay? Content examples, honestly, your content needs to deal with things like video, as I said about YouTube, photos, things like trivia, facts, things that are in the news. Use this political garbage to your benefit, okay? What they are saying, though, is that if you take something that's going on in the world, something like, for instance, the small group, just identified with what I was saying. So you'd probably read a little bit further. or you look into that a little bit further, or you watch a little bit longer, simply because I said something that you're like, yeah, I'm sick of that crap too. Do you know what I mean? Like, by doing that, you're actually engaging, leading them in. So things like that, you don't want to just say, hey, by the way, today this is going on, or hey, by the way, I've got this in my store today, or hey, by the way, our firm is doing this. It's simply, hey, did you see that on television last night? You know, Mitt said this. This is what I think about it. And by the way, you know, and just mention something else. You're trying to engage that person in with interactive questions. Quotes, events, promotions, discounts, and explaining client services to best practices. Every once in a while, shamelessly promote what it is that you're known for. Not just what you got going on today or what you're doing for fall. What is it that you're known for? Remind them at all times what it is you're known for. Okay, all that. Okay, demographic, ad behavior, and targeting. We kind of get into this a little bit, so I'm going to skim because we've already talked about this. Your ads, okay, Facebook ads, which is something that all of you can use. You can literally go into Facebook and click on either promote or click on in the top right corner under home. It literally says like promote yourself or promote your business. You can literally design your own app. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it isn't time consuming and it isn't kind of a pain in the rear. It is. But it is something that you can do yourself if you so choose to. I recommend having somebody help you with it, obviously, because it's going to get gnarly and annoying. But it is something that is set up for you to do yourself. You can literally go in there. You won't be able to geo-target yourself as a regular business owner. They will allow you to target a demographic. You can't geo-target without an ad from a marketing firm helping you. So it's just legality, right? That's the only reason why. But as far as getting into, and I know you can't see this right here, but Jim Coleman Infinity, which was out of, I want to say Missouri? Washington, D.C.? Okay, duh, that's right, because some of the words in here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Washington, D.C., Jim Coleman Infinity. They literally chose things, and you can go through and type these into the Facebook ad space. It will ask you what things, in other words, what other things has someone liked, and you'd like them to be brought to your page, or your ad to come up in front of them. And you can't see it here because that's all in gray. They chose things like, and now this was just one ad campaign. This doesn't mean that these are the only people that they're targeting. But for this particular ad, they chose Republican, Mercedes-Benz, Cartier, Rolex, private jet, any of those things that someone has liked, ever, not even just in the last month, ever. They will now, this ad will automatically pop to those people. The other creepy thing is that they didn't even have to necessarily like it or search it on Facebook. Who knows what happens on Facebook when you don't log out? You smiled. I know you know. What happens when you don't? What happens when you don't log out on Facebook? What is your name?
Sean.
Sean. What happens when you don't log out on Facebook, Sean?
It still tracks your activity.
That's correct. And it tracks it where?
Through Google, through everything you search.
Two for that. You knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It tracks it everywhere. It has nothing to do with Facebook. And I don't mean like you X'd out of it so you shut it down. I mean you physically have to go in and log off on everything. So if it's automatically risen on your tablet, you're logged in. If it's automatically on your phone, you're logged in. So you can log off on your desktop all your life. Doesn't matter. They're still watching you. Now, can they see like passwords and credit card numbers? Probably, but they're not sharing it. No, they don't. The look on your face is where you're like, oh my God, no. No, they can't. But can they see things like what you've liked, places you've searched, where you've looked into going on vacation? They can see things maybe you don't want them to see, so just keep that in mind. Okay, search sites you might be going to in your spare time. Okay, just keep that in mind. But they can see all of that. They can see that I went to Capital One site and made a credit card payment. So what's the next thing that's going to pop up in front of you? A Capital One mortgage ad. Why? Because I went to the site and I paid it. I wasn't even logged into Facebook. It's logged in on my phone automatically. Thank you, iPhone. So they can see all of that. They can watch everything that I'm doing. Okay, there's a crawler that literally goes in and it's there. And I know this might feel a little bit invasive. I understand. But your credit card and your cell phone have been doing it for a lot longer than Facebook has. So, you know, the line is at least being drawn in an area where they're being honest about it because they're upfront with this. They're like, hey, by the way, we're watching you. And they're at least doing it to where they're targeting it in a way that's for something positive. Now, Facebook doesn't allow this for illicit things. They don't allow it for casinos and gambling. And they don't allow it for certain types of medical procedures. So I mean, they're keeping it very, you know, they're keeping it to the law of the land. They're not trying to invade you completely. They are just trying to simply apply things to you. And they're trying to take your brand and apply it to someone else who's out there too. People literally are now seeming to take more of an approach to a response than they necessarily are to solving a problem. What I mean by that, and what Facebook and Google and everybody in the world means by that is, if someone goes on a site, let's say they're on Google Plus, or they're on whatever, they're just on Google, and they write a review about your company specifically. And let's just say that for this instance, it's a negative review. They say something like, this person was so rude, I've never been, I'm just having a fish. You suck. You know what I mean? The longer you leave that there without dealing with it is a huge problem. How you deal with it is also a huge problem. Even if you type in what we like to call a non sequitur response, which is something as simple as, hey, I am so sorry that you had that experience. Is there a better way to reach you? Because obviously you don't want to have the dialogue with someone in an open forum. Is there a better way to contact you or to reach out to you so that way maybe we can come to some sort of, problem-solving solution here? Even just that response, have you solved anything? No. Have you given that person anything that they necessarily want? No. Maybe you even hear from them again. Statistically, they say no. They say about 82% of the time that person's never going to call you. They just felt like complaining because they're allowed to vent on here. The whole world is their soapbox. So, but the fact that you responded, even just by saying, hey, is there a way for me to get in touch with you? I feel so bad that you had that experience. You haven't said anything. You haven't given anything away. You haven't said even who you are. You're just saying, I am so sorry. That literally raises everyone's ranks in how the world sees you. They now ignore the complaint. They're like, no, people complain. But look, they got back to them right away. They said something nice the next day. It's the same way with a nice comment. If somebody goes on to any site, Yelp, whatever, and they say something nice about your business, or they say how great your customer service was, or they say how wonderful on LinkedIn, they say how great your business relationship is, and you say nothing, they're so snubbed by that. They're like a teenage girl that you didn't text back. They're just like, oh my God, I texted you an hour ago. I don't believe you haven't responded. They get really upset. So you need to go in and deal with that just as much as you do negative comments. And we've seen the same statistic rates from that. A simple, hey, we love you too. Or hey, thanks for being a loyal customer. People love to be told, like, good job. They love that. And that is what's going to get you that response as well. And that also, again, as we mentioned before, helps improve ranking. Okay. Twitter keyword monitoring. I'm not gonna bless you. I'm not gonna get into this too deep. There is actually a way with Twitter, and again, usually it has to be done through some sort of a marketing management tool, to actually enlist a number of keywords that you would almost look like search criteria, and you can literally plug them into Twitter. And anybody who's having a conversation pertaining to any of those keywords within whatever radius or circumference you set, you can actually. We have a way, as well as some other marketing companies, have a way of viewing those Twitter conversations, because believe it or not, those are live. Every tweet is actually on file at the Library of Congress. Think about that before you tweet next time. Mine, yours, Lady Gaga's, the whole world, all those tweets are all kept on file because it's considered public domain. So because it's treated almost like an IM, I mean, that's really what Twitter is. It's a form of IM. It's just done publicly. But because of that, we're able to tap into those conversations as well as some other media companies and actually see who's having a conversation that may be something that pertains to you. This doesn't happen constantly, but when it does happen, the ROI on something like that is outstanding. Because you're actually jumping into a live conversation. I know it sounds a little bit invasive, but it's not done the way that it sounds. We're actually able to, this is just an example, and you can't even read half of it. This is an example of what we had done with, yeah, that's her name, baby girl, 210. People come up with the weirdest Twitter handles. I'm like, what, your name was taken? Like, what do you mean? Twitter monitoring engagement. This is just our example of it, and I apologize for it not being completely legible. What it really was she was online talking about how she wanted to go get a pre-owned car, and we acted on behalf of Kia out of St. Louis, and we actually jumped into her conversation and was just like, hey, if you feel like coming down sometime, here's our name and phone number. My name is, Mark. Just come and see us sometime. We were acting on behalf of one of their dealers. And she actually ended up going down and buying a car. This is a very isolated example. Is this possible for you to utilize with your business? Yeah, of course. Is it going to work this beautifully every time? Well, gosh, no. But the idea there is that it's one more way to kind of target into a live conversation utilizing Twitter. Okay, social sync and email blasting. There is actually a way to transition customers that you have on your database, your email, what have you already, and sync them up with your social world. And that is really important. You can take the entire database of emails, clients, whatever you have, and literally friend them or tweet them or find them so that way they're part of now your social world. And that is very important. Utilizing who you've already built your world on, but converting them over to a social world or a social database is really important. Okay, inventory feed. I'm going to skip over this. This is just some of the things that you can do with Facebook. I don't know if a lot of people realize you can put an inventory of whatever. This is cars, and we didn't use real cars because we were allowed to show branding. Reputation management is a really big deal. We've already talked about this, so again, it's about taking negative comments and turning them into positive. We, as well as many other marketing companies across the United States, will tell you that removing something is the worst thing you can do. If you take something down, especially because everything's so live now, someone's seen it. I don't care if it just happened and you're like, I'm the only person who's seen it. No, you're not. someone's seen it, and now they know that you've deleted it, which in their mind means, oh, so it's probably true then. Is that necessarily true? No. You're like, it said the F word. I just felt like taking it down. You know, like whatever. And when it comes up to slanderous things or things like that that are completely indecent, absolutely take it down. And Google can actually be reached and asked to take those things down as well, where they will. Or if in worst case scenario, it's not actually your company, but a company by a similar name, that happens sometimes, then they will be able to remove it for you. But in cases where it's just someone who's complaining, again, turning it into a positive is really all that you should be focusing on. Because people pay more attention to that, as we mentioned before. They're more focused on the fact that you converted that person's mind or that you reached out to them right away than they are about the fact that the person was complaining first. Okay. Capturing leads and activity. These are just different things that are available with social media. Whether it's commentary, sentiment, shares, brief, duration. You can do polls, you can do surveys, subscribers. All of these things are literally just about capturing your activity. Calls to action where you can take someone's name, someone's email, or someone's phone number and literally store it within a database. There's a million different ways to do that with Facebook. Now, is Facebook a lead generator? No, not at all. But it is a lead capturing system. You can capture people's information completely legally. You're not taking it. And store it within Facebook as well, and then be able to kind of look back and see who these people were and reach out to them specifically. Okay, case studies. I'm actually going to skip through these simply because these are kind of it's just studies of different things that we've done, but we're kind of pressed for time here, and that was us on our selfish note anyway. As far as support, this is where we get a little bit selfish and we talk about us ourselves, and again, you can't even see it. So, as far as manpower, you can't even see it, so I don't know, what's the point of this one. The support team and things like that. This is more us letting you know that we understand that you are one person, or maybe two people, or maybe you represent 3 or 4 people. You already probably have 9 jobs that you do, wherever it is you work, whether you're representing the company, or you are the company, or what have you. I expect no one to be able to do all of the things that we just talked about and still be able to do a normal job. I think that's ridiculous if you thought anybody expected you to do that. If you'd like to try and do it, my hat is off to you, because I ran a media company, and even I could not do this, and this was my only job. I could not do it to the length that it should be done in today's modern times. I couldn't, which is why I went to look for work for a larger outfit. Being able to do all of those things is completely impossible to do by yourself. So I definitely recommend seeking help, or bringing somebody maybe in-house, or utilizing people who are here for questions, because this is a huge project that they're embarking on if you want to be in the digital and social space. As far as the support team, things that we do, we have account managers who handle whether it's your digital side or your social side. A digital support team that's made up of people like myself who own their own business, or came from Google, or came from, some of them actually are from Bing. They get mad when we talk about it. The kids from Google get mad when we talk about it, not the kids from Bing. As far as management and managing an account, anybody who works for you, anybody who you utilize, it's really important to us that you know, whether it's some other person or people we don't even know, or yourself, that person should be treated as if they're an employee of your company. They should want to be an employee of your company, because they're out there representing the most important thing in the entire world, your brand. That person should be functioning and treating you like you're the boss, because you are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, whether or not you have an idea that they disagree with or what have you, it is really important that whatever realm you decide to go on, whether it's self-management or utilizing an outside company, that person needs to act as your employee. And they need to take in your best practices and your best wishes into everything that they do, because that's who they are. They are out there as the person who's speaking on your behalf, whether it's in a digital realm or physically or what have you. All of the things that they do, whether it's us or someone else, can all be reported on. This is all within Facebook as well. You can actually print off, some of these are a little bit more detailed because of the things that we've done, but you can actually print off Facebook analytics. You can get right down to gender, where they're located, what race they are, where they're coming, what income level they're coming from, where they found you, how they got to your Facebook site, what portal they used, what URL they sprang from. All of those things are available within analytical reports within Facebook that you can print off yourself. You have access to these, you don't need to pay for them. Okay, the detailed stuff comes more when you actually do pay for an ad, but basic analytics you can have on your site at any time. Okay, I will shut my mouth. Does anybody have a question on anything so far that doesn't require an in-depth answer? We'll take in-depth questions.